Yes, I'm here. You didn't miss anything. Just about to get started with Apex Arena Season 14, Top 8. Apologies for missing yesterday. Something came up and I had to take care of something, possibly Doberman related. But all that means is a few fewer matches for us to look at today, so let's go ahead and get into the looking at part of that equation. These matches don't start for another 3 minutes, so we're going to have some very brief discussion. Oh, I guess this is the perfect time to remind you that if you haven't placed your bets yet, you have to do it now before this match starts, unless you want to hold off until next week. Basically, all you have to do is come into the Apex Arena menu, go to Matches, and if you have your free tickets, you can also buy more tickets up here. Just click on Aid on whoever you want to vote for. You'll notice I haven't voted for anyone yet for today's matches, just because the games are all kind of close or the odds aren't fantastic, but we'll talk about that for the next 90 seconds, 100 seconds. So in the top left corner, we have Alcazar, who has been kind of a dark horse in these playoffs. He's defeated some good players, and no one I know really knows much about him. Versus Q, who is the champion from last season. In the bracket below that, we have another previous season champion with 7th Heaven Up Appa playing against his guildmate, Jaden Nelson, who was number 1, I believe, on the ladder this season. So very good player from 7th Heaven, going up against another very good player, previous champion from 7th Heaven. So it remains to be seen how that one will go. Since they're guildmates, they may even play that match outside of the playoff window, and then whoever won will come and just pick up the win today. So these bets, they may get refunded. We'll have to see. I don't know how the 7th Heaven Guild handles their playoff matchups. In the bottom right, we have B-Guy versus Ichao. B-Guy has always been in the mix in playoffs. I think he's possibly a whale or a whale account. But he's never really gotten to the top echelons of playoffs. Whereas Ichao, between Ichao and SCL, they've gotten to like the top 2 or top 4 at least a few times. So strong contender down here. Really hungry, really looking for a win this season. But in the top right, we have the 3-time champion Autorun. Autorun has gone all the way a few times. And the last couple seasons, his runs have been cut just short with losses close to the end. Up against Gaall, who's another one of those players who's always been in contention, who's always been a really strong player, but who just hasn't been able to go all the way. I think time zones are a problem for Gaall, like having the time to set aside for these matches. But I would love to see him get his chance and go further than this. Like, my ideal scenario here would be Gaall beating Autorun and Ichao beating B-Guy, so that Ichao and Gaall could have a chance to fight to get into the finals. Anyway, for today's match, we are going to go ahead and watch this Autorun versus Gaall battle. There are like 2,200 people betting on this game, so it should be a pretty popular one, so let's just go ahead and load up now. Amma, welcome to the chat. Good to see you in the stream again. I'll bring up YouTube chat as well in case there are any YouTube-specific chatters. Hello, YouTube over there. I see you. Nice. Yes, that's the way to do it, to be perfectly honest. Back when I used to watch a lot of Destiny streams, there was a site that would, like, load up multiple streams all in one nice, convenient window, and I forget what site that was, but now I have this, like, ultra-wide... I've got one of those Samsung Odyssey monitors, so if I want to, I can just bring up as many stream, like, browser windows as I want and tile them all up, and a couple seasons ago, or I guess 1 season ago, since I got it not that long ago, I think I had, like, 8 Langrisser streams all on at the same time between Twitch and Discord. So it was pretty hilarious. Okay, so we are just getting started here with Pick and Ban now between Gaall and Autorun. Let me know in the chat, by the way. I want everyone to let me know in the chat who you voted for or bet on. I saw Emma Zero already admitted to betting on B-Guy earlier. Alright, so we've got Gaul as player 1, and we are going to be playing on the desert map for the first game. Oh, we have a few people betting on Gaul, hoping for those huge odds to pay off. It's not an awful strategy once you get down to, like, the quarterfinals. With Autorun, you never quite know if he's going to make it or if he's not. I don't think Gaul is the kind of player who's really, you know, on people's suspicion lists for buying victories like some other people might be. Oh yeah, we're also seeing some votes for Autorun, which makes total sense. Tristan is a religious Autorun voter. Every season he votes for Autorun because he sees it as a sure payoff. Even though it's just a little bump, it's gold nonetheless. Alright, so what have we got here? Let's see. We've got Gaul running the 3-tank plus Rosen box, and he has first picked Rosen. Autorun has banned one of his tanks, so that means if Gaul wants a tank, he's going to have to pick one this round. Just gives Autorun an extra turn of banning out DPS if he wants to do that. So he does secure Lightbringer. A nice accompaniment. For Autorun's side, it looks like he is playing a similar box, except instead of Rosen, he's got Sissy White. Which does give him a little bit more dynamic pick and ban potential, because as player 2, he can opt, if he gets banned out of playing tanks or playing like a really defensive box, he can flex to a more aggro style composition and bring Sissy White as his healer slash enabler. So we may yet see Sissy White come out. Act Again alone is really good as player 2, but it's really good to help enable other units as well. But units that Autorun doesn't have on the field quite yet. And it's going to be irrelevant anyway, since Sissy just eats a ban in the 3rd round. So Gaul picking up Annie here is a nice threat. Annie's pretty scary if you're running without a tank, so this may prompt Autorun to opt for a tank here soon. I don't think banning tanks is necessarily going to be one of Gaul's priorities, but it's certainly an option. Yeah, Autorun is just loading up on dangerous units. The first pick Grenshiel is nice against the kind of team that's shaping up here for Gaul. Although Annie can certainly devastate an unguarded Grenshiel with her Windcutter skill. And Sagni is a potentially scary unit who can hide with a tank and hit from far away. Especially if you don't have a tank or if you don't have Rosenseal. Okay, we're hearing in the chat that 7th Heaven Up Appa forfeit. So, to me, that says either they played in advance, like we kind of suspected they would, since they're guildmates, or they had a gentle person's agreement where, you know, they got together and maybe decided that Jaden Nelson had the best chance of going deeper into the finals than Up Appa did. Maybe Up Appa is even going to offer to backseat Jaden. I don't know if they've been playing with backseat earlier in the season or not. But you'll often see friends or guildmates come to similar kind of under-the-table agreements. So it looks like Up Appa is going to be the one under the table this time. Okay, Gaul actually making it so he's definitely going to be facing a tank. With the way these picks and bans have gone, Autorun only has a couple tanks left, so he's going to have to play with one of them at least. Maybe the reason why Gaul did sneak one guard-ignoring unit in there, just in case he has to get through a Hilda or a Landius to get some kills. Although, with the composition that Autorun is running here, I find it fairly unlikely that he's going to be hiding these units around his tank. He's most likely going to be using the tank as an enabler, and still rushing in hoping to get through Gaul's guard and start picking off units. So Sagni, we are going to get to see some Saggy Owl action here. Autorun is not tankless, but he is healerless, and that is enough for Saggy to be scary. Meanwhile, Autorun has pretty much a beautiful slate of aggressive DPS units. Grenshiel, Lostum, Z2, and Leon are all really scary. Okay, so these guys are going to be picking skills, picking troops, picking formation. And let's see. Gaul goes ahead and brings the infantry on Lightbringer. Not worried about Leon. We'll see if that's warranted yet or not. Okay, Gaul opting to lean AoE with his Annie, not bringing Windcutter for Grenshiel. Someone else is going to do for Grenshiel. And he does have stealth on his Epsilon as well. Leon, just with straight 3C instead of AoE, makes total sense against a Rose and Seal comp. He's got Faceless on his Lostum. Going with the double-decker Sword, Soul, and Decisive Blade on this Zerida. So she is not going to be trying to wrangle with anything fancy like range or AoE attacks. She's just going to go in there and smack that Lightbringer a couple times. Yeah, everything's looking pretty normal here to me. I think this Echo of Light skin is kind of weird and freaky, but it does make the owl look weird and freaky. Okay, so there's the opening owl AoE, silencing everyone on Otto's team. Except for the Grenshiel, of course. Yeah, did he catch a breeze? Did he catch a breeze off that Rose and Seal? So Gaul definitely taking advantage of that with a timely Owl Boy assault. So he's also going to be able to ice someone from way back here now that the owl is in deep. So, yeah, units spreading out. What's the range from the owl? Is he, like, parking away from the owl on purpose? Or is it 3 spots? These are the things you should know when you're a Kong. 2 blocks. Okay. So he used Owlboy early enough in the turn that it gives Autorun the ability to position his units outside of owl range. Which isn't bad. I mean, it's not like Gaul sent the owl in there specifically to set up a turn 2 single target attack. The owl's main purpose with the giant AoE to open has already been accomplished. I like that it's this weird, like, blood demon ball thing, but it still makes hooting noises with the EOL. It's pretty sweet. Hey, Bakira. Okay, Grenshield picking up a breeze there. She's under guard. She's got her Grenshield up, which is nice for her. But yeah, I suspect there's going to be more AoE coming. Annie black-holing the backlines. Basically keeping all of these hiding units of Autorun out of commission. Heal block on the Leon. I mean, he's silenced anyway, so he can't really shiv. These guys are hurting. They're going to be out of commission for several turns. I just love how brazenly she's just, like, kept up here. She had to black hole. These guys are all hurting pretty bad. She's not worried about it. So Grenshield can go in. I mean, she could stay behind and kill this Dankalmo as well if she wanted to. She could do it from guard and outside the Owl's range here if she wanted. But she could also fly in and shut off Lightbringer's guard and kill whoever she wants to back here as well. I like that this is Gaul's idea of being a defensive player. Hog rushing forward through these portals, setting up a nice little guard on the front portal. So Zerida still silenced. Epsilon happy to hide up there. The AoEs that could chip that off him are currently extremely disabled. Well, so far, I mean, we're still in the early opening moves of this game, but a nice lucky breeze on Owlboy early sees Autorun on his heels early in this match. Some AoEs and debuffs taking their toll right now, but trying to keep his composure, keep his units stacked up. Coming in deep, not able to one-shot that Hilda. Also, thankfully, not reflect killed by the thorns. But remember, Autorun has no healer. So whatever kind of beating Hilda takes, it's going to be a beating. Okay, the Annie goes down, that's fair. Really the most dangerous target there. Rosen just slowly creeping up behind, at least putting Miracle for some plus damage on that Epsilon. What can Epsilon reach right now, though? Oof! Oh, Leon, that hurt. I mean, Epsilon can only reach the Hilda. Do you still have that? No, you're only heal blocked now. Sagni, with his main purpose used up, is happy to trade himself for this backline lost him. But with Sagni and Annie both dead, we've essentially got a Lightbringer, distant Rosen, and only Epsilon as the DPS carry versus, you know, a couple of beat up and battered units. Really, the key for Gaul here is just going to be that the Leon and Zerida are so beat up that they're not going to be able to get through that Lightbringer. At least that's his game plan. Oh yeah, definitely, Josh. Gaul had to get something for that. And Sagni was done, so might as well take someone down with you. Yeah, I'm a zero. It definitely looks like that. I mean, Autorun has the units that can pound through that Lightbringer given time. But the fact that Rosen is back here getting ready to come up and offer her support. Lightbringer with Rosen is really hard to beat down. So there goes Hilda's first life. Lightbringer's going to heal herself back up to max and get away from that Gren shield. Leon's slowly moving up and burning those debuffs off, so now he can at least get some healing from Shiv when the time comes. Rice Crew, welcome to the stream. Good to have you with us again. I like that you're still the hype train conductor. That's an awesome little icon to have in front of your name. Zerida joining the fray. Her silence should be off, and now she's back up front under guard. I mean, Epsilon could take one life off this Zerida, but the thing is, she has a couple Zeraballs readily available to get her life back. Autorun protecting the Gren shield from that Epsilon. He wants to keep her alive. I would certainly say that Gaul is still going to want to try to get through this Hilda first. That just gives him a lot more offensive options for who he's targeting. Just a standard attack into that Lightbringer, healing things out. Alright, there's an AoE to crack Epsilon's shield. But Epsilon's under guard, so you've got to wait 4 turns for the... oh no, 2 turns for the Gren shield to come back. Or a good scramble from Leon, although Leon probably just gets counter-killed if he tries to 3C into this Lightbringer right now. Maybe not against Guardian Infantry with his Shiv healing. We'll see if he decides to try for it. He's thinking. Doesn't want to get Grenshiel in too close. Alright, here's the Shivs, so we're at least going to heal up to just under 30%. Not enough for him to think that he can survive initiating into that Lightbringer yet, so that was just purely for healing purposes. Yeah, I agree, Cecil. I think that's probably going to be Gall's first order of business, is just chunking this Hilda down, and you don't really need too much skill expenditure to do it either. It's a way better investment than trying to use a guard ignore on this Zerda, because she's just going to get a Zera Ball and revive again anyway. And then to clean her up afterwards, like with a follow-up attack from Lightbringer, for example, you need that Hilda to be dead. So getting rid of Hilda is priority numero uno. Okay, he's actually going to chunk her with the 3C. Which is fine, it'll be back. There's going to be a turn where Lightbringer has to get her guard back up, Epsilon has to get his faction buff back up anyway, so they're going to be kind of treading water for this turn at least. And in the meantime, something may die, which will speed up Epsilon's 3C. But just to make things dramatic, we are going to have the Gren Shield coming back after her next action as well. So just as Gaul's team is starting to coalesce and get re-topped up with their buffs, Gren is going to have the opportunity although I believe Gaul will have turn priority. So, I think Epsilon's probably better off, well, the 3C from Leon can chip him out of his hide as well. I was going to say, Epsilon could be better off just going somewhere and hiding to cast this faction buff. Or next turn, I guess, once the shield threat becomes real. But Autorun does have a couple of ways to chip him out of that shield. Leon blasting through this Lightbringer with his 3C. Let's see what the scramble looks like. Oh, that was a really brutal scramble. Really brutal. Everyone's still comfortably in guard. If they had spread out a bit more and Epsilon was able to be picked off, that would have been pretty mean. But now, Leon is toast. Epsilon's got his shield back up. Zerda can chip the shield down with her little self-centered AoE. Okay, Lightbringer, gone. Oh, the Dobermans are groaning in the background. They don't like it. Epsilon needs his faction buff back. And Autorun, things are looking okay for Autorun. Gren Shield still strong. And Zerda still has a Zera Ball on the field. Or is there one behind her too? Why would there be? But getting through 2 Zerda lives is very annoying when you only have 1 DPS. Okay, so Epsilon should have his 3C back. Yep, he's ready to kill something. Does he kill Gren Shield through this shield? Rosen doing everything she can to buff this Epsilon. Alright, Epsilon, only one option now. So many Zera Balls on the field. Not able to pop her through the shield. And Gaall, what a promising start. Autorun just with enough DPS to pull it back out. That's what happens when your entire team is threats. You can kind of stand to lose one or two. But it was just some unfortunate timing related issues for Gaall there, having to get his faction buffs back up at a time when Autorun was still able to throw DPS against his tank, and losing Lightbringer right at the end there. Epsilon just didn't have enough support. Okay, so we're going to see who is coming out of the backup box. See if either of these players wants to dramatically alter their game plan. To be honest, I think both boxes were working fairly well for both these players. If anyone feels the need to adjust, it'll more likely be Gaall. Since he's going to be player 1 again, Autorun's little box setup worked really well for player 2 for him in that game, and he's the one who won the match. So Gaall may want to change his approach from the side box. If Autorun wants to change his approach, I would say it would be more likely to happen through pick and ban, but we will see. These are two big brain players, so big brain players are always quick to put little commentator Kong in his place. Okay, Gaall just dropping Epsilon and bringing up Agnes, very small change. And Autorun swapping one assassin for another. Not the greatest Lost Him map, I guess. So we are going to see Gaall trying to go for this Frozen plus tank team again. Autorun with the first pick Grenshiel again. Gaall kind of calling Autorun's bluff and going ahead and picking Grenshiel of his own. This gives Autorun the opportunity to take out his tanks. But bluff called. He doesn't do that. Autorun instead bans out the Agnes and the Annie. We saw how dangerous the Annie was in the last game. And he's getting Archon. Archon is a nice pick here just because Gaall's remaining tanks aren't Hilda, so he is going to be able potentially to displace. Gaall doesn't have the kind of box that looks like it would be stacked up and loaded with electric headgear either. Okay, and now Gaall getting Oboro. And finally, pushed things a little too far, lost those tanks. So he's got a Rosenseal and he's got an Oboro, but he's got no one to really protect the Oboro. He could potentially have an Oboro faction buff with D-Heart. But other than that, he has no act again. Autorun's gonna have a tank in addition to that Sissy White, so Oboro's gonna need to stack up to all 4 stacks. if he wants to be able to kill anything, and he has nothing to speed that along. No faction buff, no act again. Against a decently quick-looking Autorun team. Decently quick. I mean, I suppose he could get away with not stacking Oboro all the way up, and then really relying on Grenshiel to disable the tanks so that Oboro can get in and kill something, but that's fairly awkward Oboro use. Oboro is going to be getting his buff in future seasons when it'll allow him to pick up stacks after he's already transformed. So that could make, like, this situation... Well, I don't even know that it's super helpful in this situation where Autorun has a guard. I don't know, I think Gaul's pick and ban... His team coming out of pick and ban this game is a little rougher than in game 1. He has more DPS, but he's basically just got this floating Rosen here, and he's got an Oboro who's going to be pretty conditional, pretty situational, whether he can do anything. We've got an AoE Leon, which makes total sense against only Sissy. And against Hilda, for that matter. Definitely no surprises on Autorun's side. Yeah, I mean, I think he probably needed a tank if he was going to play that. If that was his game plan. But, I mean, Gaul didn't accidentally not pick a tank. He had 2 full rounds where he could have picked one if he wanted one. And he opted for Grenshiel and Oboro instead. So now we just get to see whether Grenshiel ends up having more value than a tank would have in this game, or whether Oboro ends up having more value than a tank would have in this game. We shall see. Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. Like, Grenshiel could have brought a guard ability, but she didn't. Not much point, I suppose. I mean, McLean ignores guard. He's going to pull people out of guard, and she disables guard. So maybe Gaul's thought process was just, I need more stuff to hit more stuff. I mean, if Gintoki is your tank, I personally think it's probably not the best use of Gintoki, and probably also not, like... Oh, hello. Hello, bot. Bye, bot. Anyway, what I was saying was, having Gin as your tank... Gaul has tested this much more extensively than I have, so this is not a criticism of Gaul's decisions. But I think it's just, not getting the most out of Gin, and also not getting the most out of your tank. Like, you could have picked a tank who would tank better than Gintoki. But we shall see. We shall see. I would like to be proven wrong, because I like to see unorthodox strategies pan out. And I'd like this game to be a little more dramatic than Autorun just winning 2-0. So having Gaul win this one because of some clutch Gintoki tanking would be pretty awesome. Also, with double infantry Gintoki as your tank against the intelligently selected unicorns on Grenshiel. Two stalled out units. Yeah, LNR, I think some people, I mean, don't get me wrong, people have been trying to make Betty a thing since she first came out several seasons ago, but the next meta in China looks like it's shaping up to be much more AoE focused, and of course every time that happens, people are like, finally, it's Betty's time! This should kill Oboro. Yep. Poor Oboro. I mean, he had tree buff, but he was stuck there on the front line with no support. Gintoki's not going to do anything against an assassin like McLean. And that is one of those non-tank picking DPS that was not worth it. Oboro dead. Honestly, an unbuffed Oboro against an auto-run team that has a tank? Kind of sketchy. Like, you need a... I don't know. I find Oboro awkward to use anyway, because I either feel like I need to become a really passive, defend the Oboro type player, which is uncomfortable, or field him against a tankless team, which lets you transform him a bit quicker. This was like the perfect storm of unfavorable Oboro picking situations here. Okay, Grenshiel's just gonna come down, get her shield. Assuming Archon can reach here, he can tidal. Yeah, and then he can pull her forward one spot. Then does he go around? No, because Leon's theoretically under guard here. So he's got to go for this shielded Grenshiel. With last rites up. Ooh, barely not getting the kill. But here's the other thing. Archon and McLean both have revives. And we also still have a Grenshiel waiting in the back here. So Autorun... I mean, even if Gaul was able to start trading down now, Autorun has the edge in terms of trade units. Archon's skills are down, McLean's skills are down. This is just going to finish off the Grenshiel. No reason to get fancy here. So Autorun is basically just putting Gaul in a pick who you want to kill situation. Now let's see how much damage this Leon AoE can do, because it could potentially cripple all these units. Or he's not even going to AoE. He's just going to straight up kill the Gren Shield. That's fine too. But like I said, Autorun is still cooking with a couple of DPS. He can get them back to safety and wait if he wants. But he can also just, like, auto-attack. I guess until Gintoki gets up front. Yeah, he's going to take the auto-attack route. Okay, so one McLean life goes down. I think McLean wants to run back to safety. Or safety can run up to him. But McLean doesn't want to... He has got no skills right now. He wants to get his shit back, rather than suicide himself into Gintoki here. Autorun knows at least that he's got a big Leon AoE coming. So let's see how much damage it's going to do. Archon, even with a Tidal Surge, isn't going to have his pull up this turn. McLean, does have his Guard Ignore skill up. That was not super devastating. Not super devastating. Sissy can kind of clean this up. It gives Gaul like a turn to start trying to pound his way through this Hilda with Gintoki. And these guys are kind of weak enough right now that I wouldn't expect, like... I mean, I guess he has no damage down, it's just his weapon skills off. I wouldn't necessarily say that, Rice Crew. Sissy's still top tier for trade teams, but she's not top tier against AoE. So this is Sissy outside of her comfort zone right now. But she still has tools, good tools, that can be used for other stuff. Yeah, Sissy's still definitely fine. It's just a question, like any unit, to be honest. It's just a question of using them for their strengths, like when it's the appropriate time to use them. Same with troops, like you pick troops when it's the appropriate time to use those troops. Same reason with niche-er units. Yeah, you don't see her that often, most likely, because she mostly goes in a more specific kind of box, whereas like the 3 tanks plus Rosen box is a lot more common. You'll see it more often because it does general purpose stuff more easily. Okay. This is an interesting little stalemate situation because it's definitely going to be possible for these guys to chomp through that Hilda if given the chance. Part of the reason why this Lancer came out. So the pressure's on Autorun now to get his water boys back in ship shape. See, Archon just throwing some damage at Leon there to get him ready for McLean's 3C coming up. Or is this his 3C? Whatever it is, his assassin skill. Okay, Leon not taking Hilda's first life there, so Gintoki's gonna have to do that. Ooh, and Leon healing up almost to full, thanks to this Rosen aura. But Archon's got his pullback, McLean does have his assassin skill. Hilda still has both lives. Autorun being patient. He's going to wait until his perfect 1-2 punch is ready. Okay, so this should be Hilda's first life. Guess not. That's Gaul's second life. And with that, we see a relatively easy win for Autorun. Let's see if there are any other games still up. We already know that the 7th Heaven match was decided, pre-decided, so we're not going to get to see that. Okay, it looks like Q defeated Alcazar relatively quickly, and we still have the Ichao versus B-Guy match on. Ichao up 1-0. So let's take a look and see how things are going. Oh, it's the same map with the same music, so it's just like we're jumping right back into a similar situation. Okay, so B-Guy has a dead Grenshiel. He's still got AO, Leon, Watham, and Zed too. Okay, most of those units are still in the back lines, so Leon has jumped in. Watham is going to be able to jump in as well if he wants. On Ichao's side, we have a fairly beat-up team, thanks to that Leon, no doubt, AoE. Everyone's still alive for now, but B-Guy may be deciding what he wants to do for his next jump. Is he going to jump with Watham or jump with Zerida? So, I mean, at least Ichao has a healthy Epsilon. There's a Landius who still has a life left. Not sure what we just witnessed. I mean, Leon fogged himself. Potentially an attempt to run through AO. Yeah, I'm not sure what that was. Not sure what that was for. I mean, maybe it was like... Oh, I mean, we could try to cook up some reasons for that. Maybe he didn't want to give Ichao... Maybe Leon's purpose, like, guaranteeing him turn priority? Didn't want to give Ichao free damage, beating up that Leon from back here? These are all very tenuous explanations. Maybe a misclick? He knew there was fog here. Anyway, there's some potential big brain reasons that B-Guy saw that we didn't see. He was deliberating on the move for a bit. Oh, it does take away Zerida's teleport target, too, since she can't just beam into Leon anymore. Either way, this may give Ichao a little bit of time to get resituated, although that said, there's all these flames all over the place. So it's not exactly easy to resituate in the face of that. So AO teleporting up here just allows her to end her turn not on a flame, and thus not get killed by the environment, which would really suck for her. I mean, maybe he tried to kill AO's first life, and that's why he ran through her. That was his post-action run, right? Like, he AoE'd here, and then he ran into the fog after, so he couldn't, like, go attack her, you know what I mean? The only way he could have damaged or threatened AO was by running through her. Alright, Epsilon running up to relative safety here, and catching a breeze as well. So even though Landius is beat up, he can still do the main job that Landius is here for, which is taking 1 to 2 hits. Whilst the rest of this beat up Ichao team basically just slogs through the remaining B-Guy units. Okay, here comes the Watham jump. This could chip Epsilon's shield down and give Watham the ability to potentially kill that Epsilon. He's not on terrain. He does have giant spirit figurines, though, so he might be hard to one-shot. Oh, we're just going for AoE anyway. Full AoE blastage. One thing I love about this AO revive is that she can come back even on fog tiles. Oh, everything's going to be disabled now. No guard, no heal. The heal block kind of matters for Gintoki, but not for the other units. They are pretty much fried. Even just this Watham alone is going to be hard to get through, because he's got his sword up. This is a beat to shit Annie, who's going to have to end her turn either on her own tile, like beam up here and then try to kill him, or take some terrain damage. Yeah, Although, Rice Crew, you run into a situation there where you take Betty, and then your opponent just specs for all single target, and your Betty's just a liability. Or Gintoki trying to get out front. Find an opening to get up and do something, anything. I mean, she's not killing the Watham, so might as well kill the sword, to be perfectly honest. Sword kills a free stack for Epsilon. Unless this AO moves up to threaten Epsilon with a next turn AoE. Actually, someone in the chat has definitely tested this. If you use her meteors on a shielded Epsilon, do all 6 meteors hit the shield? Or does the first one pop the shield and the rest do full damage? Moondoggy, there's a 100% chance you've tested this. Okay, I was wrong. I should have said 99% chance. I just know that you're the testing master and you love those kinds of scenarios. We may very well find out right in this match. Alright, Io Olawole is saying they all hit the shield. It's not going to come to that, though, because the shield does not go up before Zerida has a chance to sneak in and just straight up kill that Epsilon. So Ichao is in big trouble here now. Gintoki's shackled. All she has is a half-health, unhealing, shackled Gintoki. Thank you for the follow, Jet. Welcome to the channel. Okay, I mean, a respectable AoE. Basically just finishes off the sword. Zerida's not really worried about taking chip damage because she can just refill, and she has a revive. And unless Gintoki can somehow reach, this Watham can just... Oh, is he gonna do it? No, that was just to get his can't heal buff off. Okay, so I mean, Gintoki's stacked up, but he's hurt. She has a couple single target skills. So she's still a threat. At least it's gonna make B-Guy think about who to kill. Yeah, he's gonna kill Annie. This is an easy kill. But that Watham's toast. Actually, it would be good for him to be toast far away from this AO so she can't unclone herself or get her full power AO-ness back. Is she gonna do it? Is he going down? Does this complete the revive process? Oh no! 3% HP left! Oh, and that AO is still a clone. Man, my stream on Twitch was frozen in the like last game for however like 20 minutes. I hope it wasn't like that live, and it was just my monitor. Okay, so Ichao has to settle for taking out the Waitham with non-AO, meaning she doesn't get her full revive quite yet, at least. Gintoki, just trying to make something happen, takes off that AO's first life, but if she wants to revive, she can just kill this clone. The clone's also not a super threat way back here. Like, all she has is her single target spell. She doesn't have displacement, so she can't approach quickly. So I think using this AO from further back was not a bad move. Not able to kill the Gintoki, but it is able to put the Gintoki, who is Ichao's only real threat, into a rough state. He's going to take Zerida's first life. Now remember, without her little revive, Zerida's pretty flimsy. She also doesn't have any skills right now, so if she attacks into this Gintoki, it's very dangerous for her. Yeah, decides not to do that. Ichao using the clone to give Gintoki a little bit of healing and an act again. Probably wants to kill the AO here, just because, like I said, this Zerida is in a flimsy state right now. Okay, Zerida's not going to be able to kill Gintoki. She has no Zeraballs on the board. She has no way of getting her revive back. She has no skills. She's toast. This is going to be 2-0 for Ichao. You can hide all you want to get your skills back, but you have no... Yeah, she's just an easy pickings. Wow, that was a really interesting endgame, the way that worked out, with both players on huge 15-second flashing timer backup time debuffs. Ichao opened the game way back on her heels, with B-Guy putting up tons of pressure with those opening AoEs, basically, you know, crippling and halving Ichao's whole team. But patient and smart strategic play helped her get back into the game, and yeah, just that finicky, like Moondoggy said in the chat, a very definitive turn where it was kind of all in front of B-Guy, and it was take it or lose it, and unfortunately he just went for the lose it route. So Ichao going to advance 2-0 there. we already watched Autorun go ahead 2-0 on Gaall. So for the semifinals, coming up next Saturday, we'll have Autorun versus Ichao in the Eastern Conference and Jaden Nelson versus Q on the Western Conference. So both very interesting games to look forward to. We've got the previous champ from last season, Q, versus probably the strongest player on ladder this season, who basically just got a forfeit yesterday and a forfeit today from his guildmates and then his guildmates. So that'll be an interesting one. And Ichao looking to finally have her chance to get a good run at the semifinals and finals, but unfortunately coming up against 3-time champion Autorun. So that'll be Saturday, and I think I will stream the Autorun versus Ichao match next week to start, and we will see where things go from there. So hopefully all of your betting and voting was very lucrative and you all got paid. Thank you for coming out to the stream and watching. Thanks for supporting good old Kong and for supporting your favorite players. So I look forward to chatting with you throughout the week and then streaming again next weekend. Jaden is pretty strong. I mean, he made it this far in the playoffs. It's not like he's been getting forfeits all through the entire playoffs. He was first place on the leaderboard in the regular season as well, so usually if people are buying pilots, they're not necessarily doing it during the regular season. So he's put in a lot of time, he's played a lot of games, and it remains to be seen. His biggest tests are ahead of him, let's just say. Beating Q and then beating Autorun or Ichao, those are all players who aren't going to just roll over. So it's going to be a real test of his abilities. So we'll see what happens there. And yeah, I'll catch you next week. Thanks again, everyone.